Hello everybody and welcome to the Labyrinth of Limitations. For this episode I thought I would look at something that I did in the YouTube short that I did like last week that I think I made a comment in there at the time point that it happens at. It's something that I got inspiration from Barry Harris, his video on the Barry Harris Videos channel, where he is looking at Stella by Starlight, and I'll link to this video. But he does this beautiful movement at the last 8 bars where he goes, it's something like this. This may not be exactly it, but this is close. So it goes, at this point he goes like, and then he does it again here. So it's that kind of motion, which is a really pretty sound, and I'd like to look at all these variations that I've been kind of playing with on that idea. Now, what he's doing there is using the tritones minor, and I'm going to simplify it a bit and do octatonic at first, and then we'll look at the tritones minor. If you don't understand what the tritones minor is, then go to episode 1 or episode 2 of this channel. There's other places, but I talk about tritones minor in substitutions, which is episode 2. Yeah, and octatonic is the diminished scale, right? So the diminished scale. So what we're looking at is, let's just look at A7, going to D minor. So if I were just that kind of motion, I'm just going to look at the A7 part. I might even do the octatonic move over the 2 chords. So this was the E minor 7 flat 5 to A7 to D minor. So now what I'm looking at is this basic idea. So I'm looking at octatonic. So that is the diminished chord, the octatonic, the diminished scale, I should say, is made up, that's because that's what Barry called it, and I like that term a lot, so I'll just call it that today. It's made up of the diminished that expresses A7, so that makes A7 flat 9, plus the roots, it's a diminished chord plus the roots of the 4 dominants that it expresses, which the roots of the 4 dominants make the diminished half step below. And the on-off relationship that we talk about is on-off. That's the way it is. So then I would go down a whole step, on-off. Right? And I would go on-off. So I can find diminished scale notes for the on chord just by thinking flat 9, 3rd, 5th, and 7th of my dominant 7th, A7. So that would be, in this case, B flat, C sharp, E, and G. So I could take a C sharp, and I could form a diminished shape, and now I'm on the on chord. I go down a half step or up a whole step, and that's the way I do this, right? But what we're going to do is take a little movement like this. I'm going to go a half step below C sharp, so that's off, on, and I'm going to go a whole step above B flat. So really I'm thinking of this 6th, and then I'm going to go like this. This is the skeleton of the idea, okay? But then, so I take a 6th, a major 6, C sharp and B flat, and I go up to E and C sharp. But then I'm going to embellish by going like this. So that's the next idea that I do. So that's half step below, whole step above. That's the idea. But then I'm going to embellish that with, for starters, minor thirds. I'm going to play minor thirds below all of that. So maybe it's good to practice doing with my first finger all of what I just did. So instead of using multiple fingers, just going first finger. That's what I did to get used to this. I do this everywhere. Here. Doing all of that, because then I can go, I can change that into, instead of this, I go, and then, right, and then, see, that's the idea. That's the idea. So I could go, so I go, and I could do it here. would be doing it on the end of Stella by Starlight. So what I did was the octatonic, moving it down in the whole steps. Octatonic for A7, and then octatonic for G7, right? And then octatonic for F7. And resolving into B flat. So that's doing it with thirds. So do you get the idea? Is all you got to do is just practice sixth, move up a minor third, and then go maybe that, and then going. So that was just some goofy stuff at the end. So now, instead of thirds, let's do fifths. So it'll be, I'm going to play a fifth below, diminished fifths. It's all going to be diminished fifths because the octatonic. So it's the diminished scale. It's the same intervals. It's minor thirds, it's diminished fifths, it's major sixths, it's octaves, it's minor tenths, right? It's a diminished fifth separated by an octave, so on. So I can go, right? That's cool. So that's same thing. And then so that's moving through Stella, but you could just do it on, we could just stick with the A7 and keep it simple. So that's just taking, which is just this, going up, half step below, whole step above, play a little diminished fifth. Now what about sixth? Let's do sixth. So it's going to be major sixth. You got to learn your major sixth. Like that. Right, all those you gotta do everywhere. All of those, you have to learn all those all over the place. Those are all just A7, and then you know. So I go. It's the idea. I'm just resolving a D minor when there, or I go through, previously I went through all of Stella, the last 8 bars. But just resolving a D minor is nice, and I play D minor 6 diminished scale. But so the emphasis on the diminished, on the octatonic. Now we did thirds, we did fifths, we did sixths. We could try to do something else, but let's try to combine those. So let's go, right about, that's nice, thirds to sixths. So I'm still, but third below, sixth below, third below, fifth below. What about third below, fifth to sixth? Watch this. Whoops. And then hear how the intervals go up. So that's fifth to sixth because I'm using the elevator. I'm going fifth, and then my top note goes down, and my bottom note, sixth. My top note goes down, and my bottom note goes up. So I'm going down the elevator. That's the elevator of intervals. That means I could start instead. I could go third, fifth to third, like that. That's pretty. So that's that's pretty. That's nice. Makes me hear things like. Like that. So that's third. Now, fifth, I'm going sixth to fifth. But I'm also going to this sixth because I'm seeing all these connections. I practice this stuff a lot, and you'll see them more and more you practice. The sixth is the top end of I could see it as a drop 2, but I'm not going to play the second string. I'm just going to play like this. So what that does, it goes in my bass. So I go third, third, to a drop 2 without the second string. Chris Parks would call that a broken drop 2. And I'm cool with that. It's a broken drop 2 there. It's definitely not what I would call a shell. And I hear this voice that goes, it goes. So there I did the chromatic concept in the middle voice. I go third, third, like that. I went above. I could go like that, just filling in the space there. So I can even do that. Just and then maybe these pretty sounds. So then now let's go to look at what kind of Barry did. He did something really pretty, because if you change it to, instead of the diminished scale, if you do the tritones minor, so that would be B flat minor 6. That's going to change some of these notes. So on A7, I go, some of them are going to be the same. He actually did something different. I think he wouldn't. No, that's the same. So what you do there is you go, so I'm going to go, but I'm going to go, there we go. Let's look at these. So if it were octatonic, it would just be all the same. And that would be the same as a tritones minor, because this is half step below. I'm just going a half step below the root and the third, and I go up to the diminished notes that are above the sixth and the root. So I'm really seeing these thirds. Seeing B flat minor 6. That's the tritones minor for A7. I should have said that before. So that's what that is. So I go so B flat minor 6. I'm gonna go. Now I'm going to do the next one, and it's going to be different than the diminished. So this is B flat minor 6. It looks like this. And then what about this one? That's pretty. That one right there. That's that beautiful interval between the 5th and the 6th. So I go, and then now I'm gonna go maybe this. That's what, and then I go, and he does something, yeah, and then he goes, he hits the tritone bass note. That's I'm playing tritones minor, but I'm hitting the bass note for the tritone, which is a B in that case, because I was at the end of the sequence. Back to where we were. So just comparing these, if I just do the octatonic, it would be, whoops. And then, darn it. And then, it would be that. It would be that. But if I did the minor 6, tritones minor, is going to, that's the same. This, as opposed to, Pretty stuff. And then what about this is going to be... That's a nice interval. And then this one, that's pretty stuff. Keep adding that. But anyway, so these are all ways to practice. Go back to that octatonic thing at the beginning of this video. I kind of got out there with the minor 6, tritones minor, but you could see how you could really transpose this idea in lots of spaces. But the diminished scale, the octatonic's the easiest, and then tritones minor sure is pretty. You know, that's what I started out the video. That was what Barry did, and or that's what I'm hearing from what he did. And I'll connect to that, and I hope this has been cool. Went a little long on this one, but super fun stuff, I think. I hope you guys find this inspiring. I'm not going to do chord charts on this. I hope that just the explaining helps. Check out my, I think it's episode 8, or it's in the first 10 episodes. I have an episode on the octatonic scale. It's what it's called, which is the diminished scale. And anyway, happy practicing, and I'll talk to you guys soon.